What's going on, guys? It's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another video for you guys. So it's been about 4 weeks or 5 weeks since I uploaded my last video, and I don't really like slacking on my YouTube channel because, like I said, this is something that I've wanted to do, and like I also said, I have a tendency of starting things and not following through, and I didn't want this to be one of those things. So yeah, it's not that I've been being lazy. I have been procrastinating, but it wasn't because of just not feeling like doing anything. It's just because I've just been doing other things. And when you have different goals, sometimes it's hard for me to balance both of them at the same time. I'm so focused on one thing, I'm kind of like neglecting this. So I didn't want it to be like that. So I'm back. Okay, so I hope you guys had a great week, a great 4 or 5 weeks, however long it took for me to post this. I hope things have been good. It's about to be April, my birthday month. Shout out to all the Tauruses. It's about to be the 4th month of the year, and I think so far as reaching goals and stuff like that, I think I'm doing pretty well. I do double back sometimes and get a little unmotivated and stuff, but that's okay as long as I'm getting them done. I started my fitness journey. I always start my fitness journey and then stop and then start and then stop and then start and then stop. But this time I'm like legit for real. I've been trying my best to get back into shape, and not even really, people say it's not for a summer body or anything. It's really just, I'm just trying to do like a lifestyle change, and I've been trying to somewhat change my diet and exercise more and just be in like a peace of mind type of state, because that's ultimately the goal that I'm trying to fulfill. So appreciate the support. People have been asking me, Ashley, why haven't you been posting videos? What's been going on? Are you still doing YouTube? Yes, I just, life. But anyway, like I always say in my videos, thank you guys for your support. I really appreciate that. It means the most to me always. So okay, so today's show that I'm gonna be talking about is Behind Her Eyes on Netflix. What the hell was that show that I watched? No, like what the hell was that? Seriously. Because okay, so I was looking for a show to talk about on my channel. I was gonna do that movie Boogie, the one with Pop Smoke, and I don't know his name, whatever, Pop Smoke was in there. I was gonna do a review on that, but not everybody was talking about it that much, so I figured what's the point of talking about it? Nobody's really talking about it. I didn't think people would have cared to hear my review on it that much, so whatever. So the show that I'm gonna be talking about today is called Behind Her Eyes on Netflix. Now, I saw on Twitter from time to time people would talk about that show, and I figured, let me get into it, let me watch it sometime. And the other day I was browsing on Netflix and I was just looking for something to watch, and that show came up, and the description kind of drew me in. Basically it said a girl has an affair with a married guy and she befriends the wife. I was like, okay, that sounds a little interesting. Now, when I watched the show, I did not think that show was gonna have such a dark undertone to it. Yeah, it had a little bit of a dark undertone. They were referring to it as like a psychological thriller in a sense. So let's talk about it. Okay, so I don't want to go too much into detail because I'm not gonna lie, towards the end of the show I was getting a little bored with it until the ending of the show. So you have the main character, her name is Louise, and right away we see that she's a single mom. She has an adorable little son named Adam. He's 7 years old, and the show starts off with her going on a blind date I don't know, was it a blind date? Some sort of like Tinder date or whatever. So she's on a blind date and the guy stands her up and she meets David Ferguson. She meets David and they have an instant attraction. You know, sometimes that happens. You go out, you meet someone and you have that attraction right away. So they have an instant attraction and they kiss and stuff like that, and right away you see that he regrets the kiss. And you know, she goes home and she's like, wow, that, you know when you go home and you can't stop thinking about the person that you met. She's pretty much smitten by this guy right away. And so the next day she sees that he works at her job, and not only does he work at her job, but he's also married. And she gets a good glimpse at the wife. She sees that the wife is very pretty and stuff like that. And right away, Louise, this is what I keep talking about with the red flags. Right away, you see that he's married. That was your cue to end that right away. I understand you had an attraction with him or whatever, but why you see that he's married, you still go and pursue, okay, whatever. So you see that, you know, she still pursues him or whatever, and it's just a little bit annoying to me because she's ignoring red flags, boom. So then we get to see a little bit of the relationship between David and his wife. Right away we see their relationship seems very strained in a way. We see that right away. It seems he's very controlling of her, and you can also see that she tries her best to be kind of like the perfect wife for him, but he's kind of like distant from the marriage. He's not really into it like that, and you see that. So we get a little bit of the backstory on the wife. She was a mental patient, which makes a lot of sense because he's a psychiatrist, and you see a lot of those like savior type of complexes between couples like that. So he's a psychiatrist and she's labeled as the crazy wife. We see that his wife's name is Adele, by the way. So she was a mental patient back in the day, and she had a friend in the mental facility that she was in. His name is Rob. And Rob, you can obviously tell that he was in love with Adele from back in the day, and David kind of got in the way of that. Moving back to Louise and David realized that they met each other the night before, and they continued to pursue a relationship. And well, not a relationship, it was more so of an affair. Then you see that Adele begins to befriend Louise. She runs into her at a cafe and everything, and another red flag. So you get into a situation with a married guy, Louise, and then the wife right away wants to befriend you, and you pursue a friendship with her. You didn't think something was off? Why are you ignoring these red flags? That's 2 red flags. And then Adele, you see Adele suffers from night terrors, and Louise also suffers with night terrors. And this is also an important factor in the show because you see in Adele's backstory that Adele and Rob do something called astral projections, which is where you kind of, I don't know really how to explain it, but it's like your soul kind of escapes your body and enters like another being. So they get to experience like outer body experiences together. I don't really know how to explain that, but that's an integral part of the show, and it was a little weird seeing that. So Louise and Anna, they have this friendship, and of course Louise is starting to feel doubt and everything, and at first, but then there was a scene where she starts talking to her friend about it, and she's like, why do I have to feel guilty? You know, like, I'm a single mom. I deserve this. I deserve somebody to pay attention to me and like me and all that stuff. So she was basically like, okay, whatever, who cares? Drop my phone. She was basically like, okay, whatever, who cares? So that's another red flag. She wasn't even willing. She didn't even care. We basically see that, you know, we see a montage of her basically enjoying the affair that she had between Adele and David and everything, and basically until things started to go left, She started to suspect some weird things going on in the relationship. Adele is starting to open up to her more and more and more. And instead of minding her business, Louise takes it upon herself to dig into what's going on between David and his wife. So that, to me, if you're gonna, if you're gonna participate in an affair between yourself and a married person, the least you can do is stay out of their marriage, honestly. Because now, even though at the end we see that Adele knew about the situation the whole time and she was just befriending Louise as kind of like a sneaky tactic that she wanted to use to get close to her, even though we see that, Louise, you should have stayed out of it. And as for Adam, we see that there was a part where Adam asked her son Adam asked her to go to France with his dad, and at first she said no. And then we see that she allowed him to go, and I'm starting to think that she allowed him to go in the first place because it gave her room to have her affair with David, which I didn't think was a good idea at all. I mean, it was good because he got the experience to go to France with his dad and everything. And even though we see, like I said, even though we see that Adele was befriending Louise to get more information about her affair with David, even though we see that, I do believe that Adele kind of just wanted a friend in the process. So they were going to the gym together, they were going to the cafe, spending time in the house together. But Adele, she's very off. So when Louise starts to realize that Adele is off, she begins to really look into it. Like she should have minded her business. So then she figures out that David had kind of like a situation going on with another woman named Marianne, and then Adele went to her house, stalked her, basically said, get away from my husband, that's just not what we're gonna do. So then this is where the story kind of got it was starting to feel a little blurry to me, and I kind of got bored. And pretty much between episodes 5 and the beginning of 6, so it's a limited series, it's only 6 episodes, so pretty much between the last part of episode 5 and the beginning of episode 6, it was starting to get a little boring, and I didn't really understand what was going on until the very end. And you see that it seems as though Rob kind of astral projected himself into Louise's body, and then Louise's spirit kind of turned into a bird at the end. Because you see if you watch the show, you saw at the last part there was a pigeon in her house. So then that happened, and you see that David and Louise actually got married at the end, but it wasn't Louise, it was her body, but it wasn't her spirit. And the son David kind of caught on to that. So this show, I didn't think it was gonna have that dark undertone to it. I didn't think it was gonna be like that. I just thought it was gonna be some scandalous affair type of situation and just drama and stuff like that. But I didn't think it was gonna be like that. After the show ended, I was kind of I was like, I don't know, that was not it. I was not feeling it. After, that feeling after you watch a scary movie or something and you feel like your spirit is not right, so you have to watch something like a cartoon or something to kind of settle your spirit after you watch that. That's what I got with that. And now I kind of want to look more into astral projections because, yeah, people already talk about certain things like soul ties, and people talk about what happens after you pass. Your spirit kind of reaches somebody else, but I need to look more into that because now I'm kind of interested in that. So if you're into stuff like that, it's a good show, but I'm not gonna lie, that wasn't really my type of show because, like I said before, I thought it was gonna be a different type of show, so that's why I watched it. And yeah, so I hope to do more reviews, more consistent reviews. I'm really trying my best. For everyone that's been asking me about my YouTube and stuff like that, I'm trying my best, you know. It's life, like I said, and I'm just trying to complete other goals in the process. And thank you for being patient with me. And yeah, so thank you guys for tuning into my analysis for this week. Thank you guys for tuning into my video. I really appreciate the support. Thank you, and have a great night. Goodbye.